Hi everyone, I'm Sal Johnson. I'm the editor and publisher of GolfObserver.com, and fresh from his vacation in Santa Cruz, California is Dave Seanor. Hey Dave, nice lid you have going there.
Well, thanks, Sal. This is going to be our new shtick for this thing. You know, you've been giving me grief because my head shines too much. So I'm going to start wearing a hat, and I'll try to get a different one. I got a pretty big collection, and this week we're going with University of West Florida Golf.
Well, that sounds good. Another person that has a hat on his head is probably Hank Haney, but it's probably a dunce hat. What do you take of these published reports in these magazines about problems in the Tiger Woods Hank Haney camp?
I'm not giving it a whole lot of credence. I think this was more of a heat of the moment thing. Tiger had some words evidently with Hank on the practice range after the second round at the Masters, but he was steaming all week, and it seems like he settled down. I don't know, you probably read a lot of things when he was in Washington earlier this week for the media day on the AT&T.
Well, they honestly, nobody said anything about it. You know, it's really funny because in the media, everybody's too afraid to ask Tiger that one
Yeah.
question. So, but honestly, we talk about this, and let's say that Tiger fires Hank. Where's he going? Is he going back to Butch Harmon?
Not likely, and
Not likely.
unless he's been hearing about some young guru out there or whatever that he wants to talk to. I don't see him doing stack and tilt though.
No, I don't. So,
Well, let's go to somebody a little bit younger. It's kind of interesting this week that Rory McIlroy turned down an offer from the PGA Tour to take the special temporary membership, because he'd won enough money to match number 150 last year. Do you think that's the right move for him?
well, honestly, when I first heard about it, I thought it was a snub. I thought, geez, what is this guy just wanting to get rich and turning down this and everything? But his manager
Get rich by turning it down? You would think he'd go the other way.
Well, you know what? Chubby Chandler, his manager, has kind of said that they have a game plan in place. They want to do things differently. They have their schedule, panned out for the rest of the year. So I can understand this. I can kind of see where the kid's going. And honestly, the tour's going to be there, we think, even in these tough economic times. We think it's going to be there next year, the year after, and many years to come. So, who knows?
I think it's a smart move. I mean, we've seen plenty of flameouts out there, so take it slow. Keep him in Europe where he's still in his comfort zone, and let the kid play.
Well, and you know what? He's guaranteed to get a tour card next year, and I guarantee you he will take it next year. Another person that's turning pro and debuting this week is Danny Lee. What do you think about that?
It's going to be an interesting scenario down at the Zurich, and it's he had a pretty tough Masters. Those six putts hurt you at Augusta, and we'll just have to see how he bears up after that. I don't know whether the PGA Tour is the best place for him to start out. Obviously, he won down on the Australasian Tour, which was co-sanctioned with Europe. I like the route that Chubby Chandler is taking with Rory better than what the IMG, who Lee just signed up with, is steering him toward on the PGA Tour. I'm just not sure he's ready yet.
There's no two ways about it. There's a big difference between the Chubby Chandlers of the world and the IMGs. IMGs are more, take the money and run type of thing. But you got to think that Danny Lee would love to have been in the same situation that McIlroy was, to have a special temporary membership. And now, he's starting from scratch. What do you think the prognosis? He's got 7 events to, make the magical $527,000. Do you think he'll do it?
Not a chance. If he doesn't do well in this, what's he have? I think 4 exemptions already lined up. He may not even take all of those. If he doesn't do well in the first 3, then I think he's better off going back to Europe. Although he does have the exemption for 2 years, so I guess he could waste this one if he wanted to.
No, there's no two ways about it. It's not, a bad deal.
No, he's sitting okay. So let's shift from the PGA Tour over to the LPGA, which just lost the Corning Classic.
Yeah, you know what? I'll tell you, that's looking more and more like the SS Titanic, that tour, because of the fact that I think that it's hit the iceberg, it's floundering, and it has major problems. The scheduling is terrible. Carolyn Bivets has not done a very good job because of the fact that she hasn't had any momentum. We're already in April. Now, I know they lost the Gin championship, but she has no momentum going, and her most important championship, the Nabisco Championship, ends the day before the Masters begins, and all of a sudden, now there's no hype of this. She's got the same problem at the LPGA Championship. All of a sudden, they're going to get the hype for the Monday morning, and then nobody's going to care about it because it's the U.S. Open. But in my estimation, I think that the tour has to really consider a schedule where you go nonstop on these domestic events, from maybe April through whatever it takes, August. You can't have a week off, and you just have to do things a bit differently.
Well, I think Carolyn Bivens has overreached from the beginning. She never really grasped where the LPGA is in the grand scheme of things, and it is always going to be kind of a third tier circuit. I mean, there's just no question about it. There's not that much interest there. But I will say this: there's a fair amount of interest overseas, and maybe it just needs to turn into a global tour. I mean, they have been smart going that way, and there's just so much competition for eyeballs and for sponsorship in the United States. Why don't they play more where it's popular? And that's just the way it is.
You got to also get TV contracts. You just can't do this. They played in Thailand.
Sure, but they get the TV contracts over there. There's big bucks to be made over there.
Well, quite honestly, if you ask me, Carolyn Bivets has been there 4 years. I think it's 4 years too long. They need some fresh, ideas and things along those lines. There's no opportunity for these players, and quite frankly, you gotta go nonstop. You just can't go, and have Phoenix.
Oh, I wouldn't argue that at all. I mean, I think the schedule is screwed up. I mean, somebody has to sit back, look and find the best holes that aren't going up against popular PGA Tour events. Do that, set your schedule up domestically, and then figure out what portion of the year you're going to play overseas. Maybe you merge somehow with the Ladies European Tour as well, and turn this into a super tour for women. Otherwise, it's got no traction.
Yeah. Now, in the minute that we have left, you got to explain to me, what's this deal with the OneAsian Tour? And I know I'm putting you on the spot. 1 minute's not much to talk about it.
Yeah, I need a day to talk about that. But in essence, you have an entity called the World Sport Group, which is trying to organize all these smaller tours, which includes the Asian Tour and the Omega China Tour, the Japan Tour, the Australasia Tour, the Korea Tour. And their premise is that you have to put all these together into a regional tour to take advantage of the TV contracts, take advantage of the marketing muscle and everything. It's the only way you're going to be able to compete against the PGA Tour and the European Tour. Well, now it's a power struggle, really. The head of the Asian Tour doesn't want to give up his throne, and it's going to be interesting to see what goes on in here. I am just not sure how much of a life the Asian Tour has in its current form right now. It does have the backing of the International Federation of PGA Tours, which controls the world rankings, which is all important. But beyond that, I'm not sure where it's going to go, because you got to follow the money. Money talks. The Asian Tour, all its big events are co-sanctioned with the European Tour. The ones that aren't are essentially nationwide tour type of events. So, you're leaving a lot of money on the table, and the people from World Sport Group just don't think that the Asian Tour leadership are the ones that can make this big mega tour happen.
Well, it sounds like a definite mess, and something that we'll be talking about in the coming weeks. So,
absolutely.
Hey, Dave, thanks for being with us and enjoying this.
Sal, always a pleasure.